Firstly, let's recap. In the previous session, we have integrated get exclusive prime deals API. Then we also have looked into the various possible views of the API called view. Okay. Now, coming to today's session, in today's session, we'll see about sorting products based on price from high to low, low to high. We'll see how to achieve this. Then we'll also look into adding icons. So for this, we'll make use of a third-party package, React icons. We'll see how to do it. Okay. So to set the code breakdown for today's session, you need to run this and then run npm install. Then all the necessary dependencies will get installed. Okay. So in today's session, we want to add a sort by feature. Okay. There you can see on the top, we have sort by. So there are two options, price high to low, low to high. So based on the drop-down selection, the products being displayed below are sorted accordingly, right? So we want to achieve this functionality. So firstly, let's focus on the header on the top. Okay. So you can see that that's the products header. Okay. So we have heading. Okay. And then there is a drop-down, the select drop-down, in which we have a list of options. Okay. So this is the products header component. Okay. So we want to add this component to our all products section to achieve the sort by functionality. Okay. So the code related to this products header component is already available for you. So once you set the code playground for today's session, so you will find this products header component code. Okay. So we have provided this already for you. So you can have a look at it. So generally, when in the industry, when you're working in teams, so what happens is some of your teammates will be building different components, which you have to integrate in the component that you are building. So that is generally a common use case in the industry. When you're working in teams, so different people will build different components and you might have to integrate them. Okay. So this is generally a common scenario. So here we have provided you the products header component, right? The initial code is already available for you. So the entire products header component is available for you. Now you have to integrate this into the application. Okay, so for this to integrate, so what do we have to do? So let's understand about that. So the first thing is the component that you want to integrate, you have to get a brief understanding about it. Okay, that's very important. So for you to integrate, you have to get to know about the component, right? So only then you will be able to integrate it appropriately, right? So here we want to integrate the products header component. So for that, let's get a brief understanding about the component. Okay, so here we'll start with the props that we need to pass to the products header component. Okay, so the first prop is sort by options. Okay, so sort by options, this prop contains the list of option details that need to be displayed in the dropdown, right? So there is a dropdown. So in that there are a list of options that we need to be displayed, right? So those will be sent as a prop to the products header. Okay, and then we are iterating over that list and displaying those options. You can see it there below. Okay, so within the select element, we are iterating over the options and we are displaying them. Okay, so this is the first prop that we need to pass to the products header. Okay, now let's understand the next prop. So the next prop is active option ID. Okay, so this contains the currently selected drop-down option. So whichever option that needs to be currently selected will be passed as a prop to the products header component. Okay, so let's say currently we have to select low to high. Okay, so that will be sent to the prop as a prop. Okay, so based on that, you can see that for the select element, we are setting the value as active option ID. You can see that, right? So the first prop contains a list of options that need to be displayed. The second prop contains the drop-down option that needs to be selected. Okay, so then coming to the third prop. So the third prop is update active option ID. Okay, so this is actually a callback. So when a user selects a particular drop-down option, right, so then the onChange function will be triggered. Okay, so now when the onChange function is triggered, you can see we have written onChange sort by, in which we are calling this callback function. The main importance of this particular prop is, so let's say a user has selected a particular drop-down option, right? So let's say he changed the drop-down option that is being selected. Okay, so then the parent component sometimes needs to know about it, right? So based on that, the next level changes might have to be done. Okay, so for that, we can make use of this callback, okay, this prop. So when there is a change in the drop-down selection, so this callback function will be called, and appropriately the parent component will get to know about the change in the drop-down option selection. Okay, so when the drop-down option is changed, then this callback function will be called. So with this, the parent component can get to know about the change. Okay, that's the whole objective of this particular prop. We'll get to know more about it as we proceed in the session. Okay, if you don't understand here, so you'll be able to easily understand as we proceed further. Okay, so now we have looked into the three props that we have passed. Okay, so the first one is the sort by options that we need to pass. So it contains a list of option details. The second thing is the active option ID. That is the option that needs to be currently selected. Okay, and the third one is the update active option ID. It is a callback function. So on change of the drop down selection, then this callback function will be triggered. Okay, so these are the three props that we need to pass to the products header component, right? So now we got a brief understanding about the products header component, right? So let's have a look at it in the code playground. So now let me go to the products header component. Okay, so here's my products header component. Okay, so let me just hide this. Okay, so here you can see the first prop is sort by options, right? And based on it, so within the select element, you can see that we are iterating over the sort by options and we are displaying the option. Okay, so this is regarding the sort by options. You can see that to display the drop down, we have made use of the select element. So within that, we enclose the options that need to be present. Okay, and we have appropriately given the values based on this particular prop. Okay. The next thing is the active option ID, that is the drop down option that needs to be currently selected. Okay, so for that, so we have passed it as a prop, and you can see within the select element we have set the value as active option ID. Okay, so the third thing is the update active option ID, which is a callback. So when the particular drop down selection has changed, so the on change will be triggered. With this on change sort by will be triggered, in which we are calling the particular callback which has been passed as a prop with the changed value. Okay, you can see it there. Okay, so we have got a brief understanding about this products header component, right? So when we are integrating, we got to know about the props that we need to pass. So while integration, so we can appropriately pass the props to the products header component. Okay, clear? So now, so we are done with getting an understanding about the products header component. Now let's have a look at the application code. Okay, so we are already familiar with this. So there is a products component. So within the products component, you can see there's prime deal section and all products section. There are two sections, prime deal section and all products section. So in the all products section, so we want to integrate this products header component. Currently there is a heading, you can see all products. So instead of that, we want to integrate the products header component with that sorting functionality. Okay, so this is what we want to do. Okay, so if you run npm start, you will be able to see this output. Let's have a look at it. So I have already run the npm start. So this is the output that I'm able to see. This is the exclusive prime deal section. Currently, we are looking into the all products section, right? So here you can see there's a all products heading. So instead of this heading, we want to include the products header component with that sorting drop down. Okay, so you can see this, right? Okay. So we understood the application code also, right? Now, what you could do is just pause the video for a while and have a look at the component structure, have a look at the products header component, get a brief understanding about it and see how the props are being passed among the various components. So in this, you will be able to get a brief understanding about the initial code and you'll be able to easily follow the next parts of the session. Okay. I hope you have gone through this. Now let's proceed further and start integrating the products header component. Okay, so within the all products section, instead of a heading, we want to integrate this products header component, right? So previously there's a heading like this. So we want to replace it with the products header component, right? Okay, so you can see there that we have imported the products header component and we have removed the heading and added the products header component. Okay, so let's do this step. So now, firstly, I want to include this in the all products section. So firstly, I'll go to this component so you can see. So I've gone into that. Okay, so here within the all products section, so there are a lot of details here. So let me just collapse this. We'll just focus on the ones that we are worried about right now. So you can see that we are rendering the products list and on the top we have this all products heading. Now instead of this, we want the products header, right? So let's first import that. Import products header from. Okay, so we are done importing. So now let's include it. So this is where we want it. And done. We have included the products header. Okay, so this step is done. Okay, so now to the products header, there are various props that we need to pass. Okay, we got a brief understanding before, right? So firstly, we have to send the sort by options, the list of option details that need to be displayed, and then the active option ID, that is a currently which drop down has to be selected, that information. Okay, and then the active update active option ID, the callback function. Okay, so firstly, let's focus on sort by options and active option ID. Okay, so firstly, sort by options. Okay, so in the all products section, there is already sort by options available for you. There you can see that it's a list. So with the options that need to be displayed, okay, directly you can provide that as a prop to the products header. You can see that. Okay, coming to the next one, which is active option ID. So what is active option ID? So the drop down option that needs to be selected, that is the active option ID, right? So now over the time, based on what the user has selected, the active option ID changes, right? So the thing that changes over the time, where should it be present? in the state, right? So that's the reason we are maintaining the active option ID in the state. So let's add it to the state. Okay, the currently selected drop down option has to be present in the state. Okay, so there you can see we have added. So we'll initialize it with the first drop down option. Okay, in the sort by options we have a list of options, right? Among that, let's initialize it with the first option. So that's the reason we have written sort by options of 0 dot option ID. Okay, we are selecting the first option. Okay, we have set it in the state. Now we have to pass this to the products header as a prop, right? So you can see from the state we are accessing this active option ID and we are passing that as a prop. Okay, clear? So these are the two props that we are going to pass. Okay, let's do that. So as we understood, for the products header, we have to pass sort by options, active option ID and the callback. Let's first focus on these two. So you can see that in the all products section, there is sort by options already available. So it's a list. It has objects. You can see the first object, the option ID. Okay. So you can see the option ID as price high and the display text as this. So the display text indicates the text that need to be displayed in the option, and option ID is kinda the key for that particular option. Okay. And you can see the next one also. So price low, and you can see the display text price low to high. Okay. Clear? So now let's send this as a prop to our products header. Okay. So sort by options equal to, and I have passed it. Okay, this is done. So the next prop that we need to pass is the active option ID. So as we understood, right? So active option ID keeps changing over the time based on the user action. So when the user selects a different option, so the active option ID will change, right? Since it's changing over the time, right? We have to maintain that in the state, right? So based on the user action, it's changing. So I'm maintaining it in the state. So here you can see I've written active option ID. Okay, and then we have to initialize it with a value. So let's initialize it with the first option in the sort by options. Okay, so sort by options of 0 dot option ID. Okay, so we are done adding that into the state. Okay, so let's access that here since we have to pass it. Okay, so active option ID, we have accessed it. Now let's pass that as a prop to the products header. Okay, so you can see I'm done passing sort by options and active option ID. So these are the two props that I've thought of passing, and I'm done with that. So let's have a look at the output. Since we have integrated the products header, let's have a look at it. Okay. So here you can see we have done integrating this all products header. Okay, you can see that there's sort by, there's price high to low with the two options in the sort by, right? You can see that. Okay, so in the sort by options list, these are the two options present and they are clearly displayed here. Okay, cool. So we are done with passing these two props. Right? Okay. So actually what you could do is you can even inspect, have a look at the React developer tools in the components. So here you can see there are a lot of components present. So the component that we are concerned about is a products header. And for the products header, you can see the props as active option ID as price high. Okay. And the sort by options, as you can see, these are the two options. Okay. So when you're integrating a particular component, so you can actually make use of these React developer tools and see whether the props that you're passing are appropriately being passed or not. Okay. You can make use of these tools for that. Okay. So we are done with this. Okay. So we are done with passing these two props. Okay. And we have seen this output also. Okay. Now, so let's add this sorting functionality. That's the next step. So we are done with integrating the header, right? Now, based on the drop-down selection, the products being displayed below have to be appropriately sorted, right? That's very important. That's the functionality that we want to add. So let's do that. Okay. So for that, let's understand the various steps involved in it. So the first step is, so when the user selects a particular option in the drop-down, so appropriately the active option ID in the state has to be updated, right? So in the all product section, so in the state we are maintaining the active option ID, right? So when the user selects a particular drop-down option, so the state has to be updated so that we can update the products, right? So once the state has been updated, now based on the active option ID, we have to fetch the products in the sorted order. Okay, so for this, we are going to make an API call. Okay, that's the next step. Okay, using the get products API, we'll get the products list in the sorted order. Okay, so for that, the first step is updating the state. Okay, and the next step is fetching the sorted products using the API. Okay, so let's do both the steps and understand each of these in detail. Okay, let's start with updating the active option ID in the state. Okay, so now, as we have seen previously, that in the products header component, there is another prop which is date active option ID. So this is a callback. So when will this be called? So when user selects a particular drop-down option, right? So then this callback function will be called. So when there is a change in the drop-down selection, then this callback function will be called. So in this callback function, we can update the state, right? So previously we have seen this. There's a update active option ID prop, so which is a callback. So when there is a change in the selection, you can see on change event will be triggered. So we are calling on change sort by, in which we are calling the prop, the callback function, right? So whenever there is a change in the drop down selection, so this particular callback will be triggered. So now what we have to do? So we have to appropriately update the state, right? So we can pass a method as a prop here, and within that we can update the state. You can see in the all products section, so there's update active option ID, right? So in that you can see we are updating the active option ID based on the selection. The selection is passed as an argument and we are updating the state based on it, and we are passing this function as a prop, you can see there, to the update active option ID. So whenever there is a change in the drop down selection, this particular function will be called and the state will be updated appropriately, right? Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, so as we previously have seen about it, so in the products header, there's update active option ID, a callback. So whenever the drop down selection has changed, the on change event will be triggered. So we are calling this on change sort by. So within this, we are calling this prop, the callback function, with the updated one, right? So you can see that with the updated drop down selection, right? Now in the all products section, so let's have a function update active option ID. So in this particular one, so we'll get the active option ID, okay? So and then we'll update the state, okay? So the active option ID is updated with the new one, okay? So now this we will pass as a prop, okay? Since these both are same, here we can write it directly in this manner, okay? Okay. So now here to the products header, we are going to pass that as a prop, okay? Clearly it's done, okay? So now what exactly happens here, right? So whenever there is a change in the drop down selection, the on change will be triggered, on change sort by will be called, then the update active option ID will be called. So that means this method will be called and the state will be appropriately updated, right? Clear? Yeah. Now let's have a look at this. So for this, let me do an inspect and see whether the state is being updated appropriately or not. So you can see there's components here, right? So the state of the all product section is generally being updated. So I'm selecting the all product section here. You can see that this is the state. Currently it's price high, right? Let me change the drop down selection. See, I've changed the drop down selection and the active option ID in the state has been appropriately updated as price low. Okay, you can see again I'm changing it to price high and you can see that the state has been appropriately updated, right? You can see it here. So based on the drop down selection, the state has been appropriately updated, right? So we are done with the step 1, right? So now let's focus on the step 2. That is, based on the state change, we have to appropriately sort the products that are being displayed below, right? So for that, we are going to make use of an API call and we are going to get the sorted products. Okay, you might be wondering, why is there a necessity of an API call, right? Generally, functionalities like sorting, filtering, searching, these are done more efficiently on the backend side than on the front end side. So the operations like sorting, filtering and searching are more efficient on the backend rather than front end. So generally, we make use of an API call and we will appropriately get the sorted list of products. Okay, so even in our case, so we are going to make use of the get products API that we have previously integrated, and we'll make use of this and appropriately we'll get the sorted list of products. Okay, clear? So based on the drop down selection, we'll get the sorted list of products. Okay, so now how do we get it using this API? So for this, we'll make use of the query parameters. So remember, there are query parameters. So we'll make use of these query parameters in the URL to fetch the sorted list of products. Okay, you can see there. So there's a question mark. After that, we have written sort by equal to, and we'll provide the value. So let's say price high. So we'll get the products in the decreasing order of price from high to low. Okay, so for that, we'll make use of the query parameters. Okay, this part is clear, right? So now, you can see here that firstly from the state we are accessing the active option ID, so in which we'll have price high, price low, the appropriate category that has been selected in the drop down, right? And then based on that, so you can see that in the API URL we are adding that as a query parameter. You can see there's question mark, sort by equal to, and we are providing the appropriate option that we have selected in the drop down. Okay, clear? So as we understood that when it comes to functionalities like sorting, filtering and all, so they are done better on the backend side. So that's the reason we are going to do it on the backend side. So in the API call, we are going to make use of the query parameters and provide the appropriate option. So here we want to sort it based on the active option ID. So we have provided it there, and appropriately in the response, we'll get the sorted list. Okay, this part is clear, right? Okay, so let's do this step. So as we understood, to get the sorted list of products, we are going to make use of the API call. So that is get products API itself. So in the get products API, so firstly, we'll access the option that is being selected. So that is the active option ID. Okay, so from the state, I'm accessing that. So now in the API URL, let's provide that. Okay, so firstly, here we want to embed a variable. So let's write it as a template string. And then question mark sort by equal to, and then we will integrate this particular variable. Okay, there you can see, right? So we have appropriately updated the URL. You can see that with the query parameters. Okay, so we are done with this step, right? Okay, so now when should this API be called? Okay, as such now, so this get products API is being called in the component did mount, right? So when is this component did mount called? So when a component is being mounted, so that's when this component did mount method will be called. So that's when the API will be called. But what is our requirement? So we want this get products API to be called whenever there is a change in the state. So whenever the active option ID is being updated, so whenever that's being done, the get products API should be called and the products have to be appropriately displayed, right? So this is the requirement that we have, right? So then what do we have to do? So where is the active option ID being updated? In the update active option ID method, right? So within that, you can see that we are setting the state. So we can directly call the API call here in this method, right? There you can see. So after the set state, we are calling this dot get products. Okay, let's try to do this. So here you can see that within the component did mount, we are calling this get products method, right? But actually, we want this API to be called whenever we have updated the active option ID. So since there's a drop down change, we have to again fetch this sorted list of products, right? So whenever there is a change, so we have to get the updated list of products, right? So for that, we are going to make an API call after the state change. Okay, this dot get products. Okay, clear? So now let's have a look at the output. So here you can see that there's 62,000, 22,000 like this, and currently it is price high to low. Okay, now let me change it to low to high. Okay, the API call has been done, and see, still we have the same output. So where have we done wrong? Let's understand this. Okay, yes, after the set state, we have written get products, but is it actually happening? No, because the set state method is actually asynchronous. So that's the reason we are not getting our expected output. So the get products API has to be called after the active option ID has been set. But since the set state is asynchronous, so it won't happen immediately, right? So then what should we do? So here for the set state method, there is an optional callback function. So whenever we want to make some changes after the state has been changed, we can mention them in this callback function. Okay, so it will take an optional callback parameter. We can make use of it to make the changes after the state is changed. So here after the active option ID is updated, we want to call the get products API, right? So we'll pass that as a callback function to the set state. So you can see it here. Instead of writing set state and get products, so we'll send that as a callback function. So once the state has been set, only then the get products will be called and we'll be able to see our expected output. Okay, let's have a look at it. So here you can see we have written set state and then the active, we are setting the active option ID. This will take the callback function. Okay, so I'm writing that here. Okay, you have to just specify the callback function. Okay, clear? So you might do a mistake of this. So this you shouldn't write. You have to just specify the function here. Okay, you shouldn't call the function there. Be careful about it. So if you write like this, it means that you're calling the function. Then again, you will not get the expected result. It should be written in this manner. Okay. So here. So now currently it's price high to low. So you can see it's 62,000, 22,000 and so on. So now let me change the drop down option and you can see now the products have been sorted and you can see 30, 50, 60, 200 and so on in the increasing order of the price from low to high. Okay, clear? So we have got our expected result, right? So this is the sorting functionality that we were discussing about, right? And we have seen this output too, where appropriately the products have been sorted based on the price. Okay. So we are done with these two steps and implementing the sorting functionality, right? So now the next thing is adding a filter icon. So you can see beside the sort by, there is a small icon, right? Generally in the websites also, it's very common having different icons, right? So we might have come across many such. Okay. Now we'll look into how we can add these different icons that we want into the websites. Okay. So for that, so there is a third-party package, React Icons. So it contains a bundle of icons like Bootstrap, Font Awesome, Material Design icons like this. Various range of icons are available in this particular package. So you can make use of this package and include the various icons that you want. Okay. So for this, firstly, you need to install this package, npm install React Icons. Okay. So let me install this. So I'm going here into my terminal. So let me just pause this for a while. So npm install React-icons. Okay, so with this third-party package will get installed. You can see it's done. Okay, so I'll just write npm start again. Okay, so we are done installing the React icons, right? Now let's see how to make use of this and add icons. So there's a particular URL. We will provide it to you in the cheat sheets. So I'll even show it to you. So if you browse that URL, you can see a view like this. So there is a search option where you can search for the icon that you want to include, right? And then if you click on that icon, you can copy the icon name. Okay, let's have a look at this. So this is the URL. There you can see reacticons.github.io/reacticons. So if you browse this will be available for you in the cheat sheets. No need to worry about it. So here you can search for an icon you want. Like in our case, we want to add a filter icon. So I'm just searching for it. Okay. So filter. Okay, I'm searching for it here. So you can see there are a list of different icons available here. You can see there's so many. So the icon that I want to add is this one. So if I click on it, you can see that this particular icon's name has been copied here at the bottom, copied to the clipboard. Okay, so it has been copied. So now I can include this icon into my project since I've installed this React icons. So for that, there is one more thing that we have to do. Okay, that is the import statement. We have to import this icon. Okay, so you can see that in the initial, you can see it's written as BS filter, right? Okay, there's something called BS here. Okay, like this, you can see at the starting, there are 2 letters. If you focus on that, okay, so I'll show it to you. So the BS, and if there's an icon name, it means it's a bootstrap icon. Okay, similarly, if there's FA and then the icon name, it means that it is a font awesome icon. You just need to focus on the first 2 letters. If it is BS, then it's a bootstrap icon. FA, then it's a font awesome icon. MD, it means that it's a material design icon. So we need to understand the category of the icon. So for that, you need to focus on the first 2 letters. So based on the category, the import statement will vary. Okay, you can see there. So in case of bootstrap icons, the import statement is from React icon/BS. In case if it's a font icon, then it is React icon/FA, right? Similarly, if it's a material design icon, you can see /MD, right? So based on the category of the icon, the import statement will vary. Okay, so firstly, you need to search for the icon that you want, click on it, copy the name, and then look for the first 2 letters, right? So based on that, you will understand the category. So based on the category, appropriately write the import statement. So in case of bootstrap, you can see there and font awesome and material design like this. So look for the import statement and appropriately write the import statement, and you can make use of that icon. Okay, let's have a look at this. So I have selected this particular icon. You can see the first thing is BS. It means that it's a bootstrap icon. So if you go to the bootstrap icons, you can see on the top there is import statement related to the bootstrap icons. So you have to import the icon that you have copied. You have to provide that icon name here from, and here you can see /BS. Similarly, if it's a font awesome icon. So in case of font awesome icon, you can see we have /FA. Similarly, there are material design icons. You can see /MD. Okay. So in our case, we want you can see that we want a bootstrap icon. We have already copied the icon name. Let's write the import statement. Okay. So as we understood, so we have to include that in the product header. So let me go to the product header component. Okay. So here we have the sort by text. Here you can see that we have the sort by text. Just before that, we want the icon, right? So firstly, let's import. So import. Let's have the icon name, which is BS filter, right? From, so it's React icons / since it's BS, it means that it's a bootstrap. So I have to write BS, right? So I have imported this. Let me include that here. Okay. So I'm done including it. Okay. Clear? So I'm done including the icon that I want. Okay. Let's have a look at the output. Okay. So generally when it comes to the icons, right? So you, they might be huge in size, different color, right? They might be in white or something like this. So to have it in the styling that you want, you can add the custom stylings here, right? So you can specify class name equal to sort by icon. So with this, the appropriate styling will be applied and you'll be able to see as you want. Okay, let me just refresh it. And you can see the icon displayed here, right? Okay, so appropriately the size, the color, you can define them, the width, height and all for the icon so that it's appropriately being displayed. Okay. So we are done including an icon also, right? So we have firstly imported it and appropriately have integrated wherever we want. And then we wanted it to have some custom styles like the width, height and color. So we have added them into the sort by icon and then we have specified that there. Okay. So with this, we have seen this output. So in this way, you can integrate any icon that you want. Just search for it there in the React icons. Okay. And look for it and you can include it into your websites that you build. Okay. So let me summarize today's session. So firstly, we have added the sort by functionality, right? So where we have seen how we can sort the products. So firstly, we have included the products header. We got a brief understanding about it. And then what we have done is we have sorted the products based